Good morning. Councillor Dudusibia, I think you asked a very important question to start with. What does this Nyanza mean? So Nyanza is a Swahili name. If you are in Kenya or East Africa, or in Zimbabwe as well, it refers to a river. So when we started this project, we thought there's a river of opportunities with this titanium. So that's where Nyanza comes from. Chair and Program Director, Mr. Alex Mtiani, Honorable MEC of Economic Development and Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Mr. Ravi Pillay. I would like to start with congratulating your recent appointment as the MEC of KZN, EDT tier. We're grateful for having you amongst us, and your presence demonstrates the importance you place on the successful development of our Nyanza Titanium project. Acting Head of Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Mr. Sihle Mkhize. It's good to see you again. We've been through this journey together for a very long time. Deputy Mayor of King Sechwaya District, Councillor Vilakazi. Deputy Mayor of Mhlathuze, Councillor Dudusibia. Madam Speaker, Councillor Silondile Mkhize, I'm not so sure if I've seen her. Municipal Manager of City of Mhlathuze, Mr. Lulamile Mapoloba. The Directors and Leadership of the Department of Trade and Industry led by Mr. Justice Ngwenya. Members of the Progressive Professional Forum and Zululand industry representatives, the Richards Bay IDZ Board Chairperson, Mr. Mel Clark, and the CEO, Mr. Tabani Zulu, and the Richards Bay IDZ executives, my fellow colleagues, bankers online, and shareholders, distinguished guests, and members of the media, and other partners, thank you for sharing time and blessing us with your presence today. All protocol observed. In April 2011, exactly 10 years ago to this date, when I was much younger than I look today, we stumbled into a pile of waste steel titanium slag. The waste titanium steel slag had been generated by Highveld Steel and Vanadium as a waste stream out of their steel and vanadium manufacturing processes. It's called Emalahleni or Witbank in historical. Honorable MEC, 10 years ago we had no idea of how great a challenge but impactful idea we had embarked on. With the energy fueled by our youthful exuberance and lack of experience then, we looked at this titanium waste steel slag from the old Anglo-American operations and convinced ourselves that we are onto something that would be quick and easy to make money for ourselves. Little did we know that it would take us even 10 years to get here. Honorable MEC, though we self-actualized through this 10 years remarkable journey, we suffered many a great sacrifice, and in some cases, tested our personal relationships with friends and family. Now we are gathered here to witness the great progress that this idea of 10 years ago, which is now known as Nyanza Light Metals, or the river filled with titanium opportunities. Profoundly so, and with great humility, I take great pleasure in sharing with you what Nyanza Light Metals means to you, what this project means to the great community of Richards Bay, the society of KwaZulu-Natal, and how it moves South Africa into a League of Nations that advances ordinary raw materials into world-class products used in our daily lives. Nyanza represents an opportunity for South Africa to demonstrate that we as Africans, we can transform the continent from just being an exporter of low-value primary raw materials to becoming an exporter of value-added products. In South Africa's case, and particularly KZN, through Rio Tinto or Richards Bay Minerals as you know it, Tronox-owned mines and others, South Africa is the second largest producer and exporter of titanium mineral sands in the world, contributing more than 22% of total titanium primary raw materials. While the KZN government and South Africa produce 22% of the world's titanium primary raw materials, South Africa imports 100% of the value-added titanium-related products, as there is no beneficiation capacity locally or neither on the continent. Nyanza Light Metals, a 4.5 billion rand project, is a privately owned South African titanium mineral processing and chemicals company that enjoys direct support from the South African government through various incentives from the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition and the KZN provincial government. The Nyanza Chemical Complex will beneficiate the titanium ores mined in South Africa by the likes of Rio Tinto or Richards Bay Minerals to produce primarily 80,000 tons per annum of titanium dioxide pigment. The titanium dioxide pigment is widely used in manufacturing of industrial coatings, paints, cosmetics. When you wear your makeup, we are there. When you brush your teeth, we are there. When you paint your house, we are there. When you buy coffee mugs, that white ceramic painting, we are there. We literally touch every part of your life every day. On this site we stand today, Nyanza Chemical Complex occupies 67 hectares of land, of which 45 hectares would be fully built and covered with industrial operations. In the Nyanza Chemical Complex, we will have the following operations. This is a massive industrial complex, and they are not built every day. In everyone's lifetime, you see one of these companies coming up globally. I think outside China, over the last 30 years, there's only been one new plant, greenfields, built in Malaysia, the Anbu plant, about 30 years ago. In China, no one really knows what's going on, so I cannot speak for China. In our operations, we'll have the following. We'll have a titanium pigment manufacturing plant consisting of large digester tanks, filtration circuits, and calcination plants producing pigment. A sulfuric acid manufacturing plant, which will be massive in its own scale, which will produce acid and steam for the titanium pigment manufacturing plant. We'll also have a limestone slaking plant that will produce slaked lime, which we'll use to neutralize and treat our acidic effluent. So we use sulfuric acid to leach out the titanium from the titanium mineral ores or the slag. And out of that comes a waste stream that is acidic. And before you can dispose it off, you have to treat it with a neutralizer like limestone or slaked lime. We'll also have a byproduct manufacturing plant, which will be massive in its own scale, that will produce gypsum, color pigments, and water treatment chemicals such as iron sulfate and aluminum sulfate. I'm sure Mhlathuze municipality, they'll be happy to know that for their water treatment plants, they might have the chemicals now just next door. I'm trying to sell my products already. We also have a massive, to build such an operation, you need massive infrastructure and utilities to support it. We'll have utilities operation housing solar and steam power generation plants. We'll have water generation plants. We'll have waste effluent treatment plants, all supported by an advanced rail shunting operation and material handling and warehousing operation. So this will be a massive industrial complex. And anywhere in the world where you go, such complexes are highly regarded as almost as wonders of nature. Nyanza's operation will employ more than 1,200 people through a construction period of 36 months. And once fully commissioned, we'll have or employ more than 550 permanent staff. In the first phase of the construction, which is what is currently underway here, it is expected to be in operation by the end of 2021, and we will employ about 60 people to start with, of which many of these jobs are earmarked for our young graduates on learnership and internship programs, and also those skilled artisans who might have been retrenched in other closing industries or downsizing industries due to the nature of the financial crisis that has been caused by the pandemic. So Nyanza will be able to employ these and reskill some of these retrenched employees, and hopefully we can contribute to what we understand the people in the forums representing the workers would also appreciate such an opportunity. Added to what I've just spoken about, or the above, job creation. From a South African provincial and economic impacts perspective, Nyanza will substitute the importation of titanium pigment and also generate export revenues for the country. So Africa as a continent imports or spends over $500 million. I don't know what the number is today based on the exchange rate. Maybe it's about 8 billion rand a year. South Africa almost being a third of that importation. So having Nyanza, we will have the ability to replace imports that we bring into South Africa and at large also leverage the AfTA or the African Free Trade Continental Agreement and export our products. From a project implementation perspective, at Nyanza we believe that all stakeholders matter. In that we regard our stakeholder community to involve the following people. Most definitely the local Richards Bay community, as this is the community that will draw our people and employees that will help us achieve our dreams. We have the South African government departments, the provincial government of KZN, and the local municipalities. These are very critical in providing the support, the incentives, the permits, and creating an enabling environment for us to be able to do what we intend to do. We also have the primary and tertiary education networks. For us, some of us, I was an engineer and then did MBA. So I started my engineering with engine refinery, went to PPC, went to Vesuvius. And over time, I moved into investment banking. But most of us, during that era, we were raised or in some way got some training from the likes of the Anglos or the big industrial corporations. In Nyanza, we intend to bring that back, and we should have graduate development programs, either for people who would come and work at Nyanza, but also develop the skills in the future generation of our youngsters for other industries that we emerge from Nyanza. We also highly regard the importance of the Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone, and with our project, as an anchor project in Phase 1F, we believe it will accelerate the growth and development of the zone to become one of the best industrial hubs, not just in South Africa, but globally. We also value our customers, our suppliers and contractors, and lastly, our shareholders and bankers who continue to follow us and believe in our dreams, and our employees. Maintaining a balance of the above and treating each other or each of our stakeholders fairly requires a great skill and art. Mistreating a contractor or supplier, as an example, is not a value that we subscribe to. They are equally important because the quality of work they deliver to us has significant bearing on the quality of products and service we deliver to our customers. In terms of the project status, Nyanza has now commenced with the construction of the titanium mineral beneficiation complex. We have phased the construction rollout into 3 phases. The first is what we are witnessing here today, which begins with the construction and operation of our Technical Services Center. The Technical Services Center will be commissioned at the end of this year, and with the funding arranged by our bankers, led by Afrexim Bank, or known as Africa Export and Import Bank, headquartered in Cairo, we'll commence with the construction of the 2nd and 3rd phases early next year. So over the next 30 to 36 months, the Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone will be a massive construction site as Nyanza ushers in the world-class mineral beneficiation and chemical complex. In conclusion, Honorable MEC, distinguished guests, I would like to say this. Through Nyanza titanium projects, we've learned quite a great deal about ourselves. We've learned how resilient and dedicated to a cause we can be. We've learned that we have an enormous ability to work with everyone from different walks of life. And lastly, we've learned that if there's a common interest, shared vision, and prosperity, everyone will assist in moving an idea from a basic concept to a monumental reality. Nyanza embodies the great lessons that have humbled many of us at Nyanza. Nyanza today is a chemical complex and the engineering feat that without our ambitions could only be found in the first world countries like USA and Europe. However, through our own African ambitions, with everyone's seemingly small contribution, together we're creating a legacy for those who will live through the rest of the 21st century. Together we're building a stronger society, and Richards Bay community must be proud to be at the center of this 21st century innovation and global competition. With this, I would like to close by saying, we are excited about this development of this project. And with the same ambition and resilience and dedication we've shown over the last 10 years, together with you, with your help, with your contributions, we will build this great global titanium story and move Richards Bay community and South African society forward. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chimhandamba. I think from the profile of how Nyanza Light Metals came about, you've given most of us hope at the time when we needed the most. When the announcement was made earlier, we know the destruction and the severe effects we have had to bear in light of COVID-19. And I know we are stakeholders and people of interest, but when the news go out, you can imagine the level of hope and resilience this will ignite amongst the people who stand to benefit through job creation and skills development as well. So much as we congratulate you for this, but again, we have to thank you for taking this opportunity and looking at the opportunities available in this region. So we congratulate you again. Much as you say, this is going to be a joint initiative that will benefit both the private and public sector. But again, it can't go without being accompanied by words of congratulations to yourselves. Thank you very much. I had mentioned earlier that we will have two presentations. Now that the CEO has given his presentation, he mentioned once or twice the work of the Afrexim Bank. So I think it's only proper that the sequence be that we invite Mr. Zito Alfayo. He will do his presentation visually. I see he is ready. So we kindly ask you to bear with us. There might be a few glitches at the beginning with regards to audio being synchronized with visuals. So that will be fixed ASAP. As for the leaders on this side of the place, I'm not sure how one of the screens could make them see. Coincidentally, we have a reserved table, so we could kindly ask you to take your seats, and then afterwards you will return. Mr. Alfayo, over to you, sir. Maybe if you at first can confirm that you have not muted your mic, then the presentation will follow. Oh, okay, I've just been told that everything is fine with the audio. It's a question of linking it to the two speakers. Then the hammering had to come. Thank you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, we can hear you, sir.
I guess that means you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I hope you can all see my presentation.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So first and foremost, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Zito Alfayo. I'm the head of the project preparation facility at the African Export-Import Bank. I'll stand on the protocols that have been established by Mr. Donovan Chimhandamba. So with all protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen,